everybody, good evening and welcome back to We Are House of Medics live stream. So with me today, I've got some pretty cool people. I have Hafsah, so I'll let you introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, my name's Hafsah. I graduated as a paramedic last year and I'm currently studying my master's full-time in clinical research.
Lovely, and I have Tanoh as well, so I'll let you introduce yourself.
What's happening, people? My name's Tanoh. I'm a senior paramedic. I've been a paramedic for coming up to 4 years now and working for the ambulance service for the last 7 years.
You're a senior paramedic.
Senior
I didn't know that. That's it. Okay, cool. So we're going to have a quick game of word association. I just basically told Hafsah how it's played, so she might win. But, okay, to mix things up, I'll let you start. So let's go that way. So we're going to do best of three, okay?
Okay. Car.
So you're out now. You're out.
What is even the time? What, 2 seconds?
Yeah, you've got 2 seconds. No, you have to think fast on your feet.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was just a practice. So we'll start again.
All right. You got bread in my mind. I can't say
You should have
bread.
said it. No, you should have used that word.
Clothes.
Shoes.
Laces.
Trousers. Am I saying this?
No. Wait, no. Laces and trousers, they don't mesh. They don't go, do they?
Nah.
So that means you're out, right?
Okay.
So you're out.
Oh, okay, I
You
get it.
Oh, now you're okay. Now you're
I
understanding.
seem so thick.
Okay,
now I
cool.
get it.
Okay, so we're playing for real now.
Okay,
So
for
we'll do
real.
best out of three. So Tanoh, you start.
Yeah.
We'll go this way.
Phone.
Charger.
Samsung.
Nokia.
I feel like you should be out for that. What do you think?
I agree.
Yeah, I think you took a bit
I'll
long.
hold that, yeah, I'll hold that.
I do think you took a bit long, so it's just gonna be the girls now. All right. So I'll let you start.
Me.
Okay.
Okay. Bus.
Travel card.
I guess I'm out. I was going to say Oyster card, same thing.
Okay, let's do it one more time. So I won the first one, so let's do one more. So I'll start because I won.
Who's answering? So once you say it, is it Hafsah first?
Yeah,
Or-
we can go back that way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
Gosh, pot.
Rice.
Stew.
Beef. That's no. I feel like I'm out for that. I feel like I'm out. Okay. I put myself out. I'm out for that.
Okay.
So you guys go.
Here we go. Do you want to go? Or should I go?
Nah, you can go.
Okay. Why is it so hard to figure
This is a hard game, like, when you
It
actually
is.
do it.
Yeah.
This is a hard
You have
game.
to proper think fast on your feet.
Okay. Light.
Torch.
Dark.
Moon.
Wait, hold on. Dark moon. Actually, is
Yeah.
that it?
Yeah.
That is one, isn't it? Okay. Right. I'll give you that one.
Are we continuing now?
Yeah, we'll
from
continue
moon.
From moon. Okay. Stars.
Spaceship.
Mars.
Chocolate.
Celebrations.
Party.
I don't know.
Well done. Cool. Okay, cool. Thank you, guys. So let's go straight into it. So my first question, guys, is what is a paramedic? And the reason I'm asking this is because in my mind, and again, I'm not anything to do with medical, I don't have a medical background. A paramedic is somebody that comes out of an ambulance and they act in an emergency situation. So what is a paramedic? If you can just explain to the viewers exactly what a paramedic is.
Yeah, so I say in essence that is correct. Overall, the old school original essence of a paramedic is somebody who comes out or attends a pre-hospital incident. So some sort of medical or traumatic incident that's happened outside of a hospital. We're there to use skills, use drugs, relevant medications to stabilize that person, care for that person, and deliver them to a appropriate care facility, which most of the time is an A&E, but depending on circumstances, you might need to go to somewhere specific, like a specific trauma center, or you might need to go to a stroke center or a heart attack center, so to speak. So it's about us basically coming out, we make our assessments, we do whatever treatment we need to do, and we get you into hospital.
Okay, so do paramedics only act in like an ambulance, or can you go to a hospital and see a paramedic at a hospital, or are you only like in ambulances?
No, so like nowadays the role is so varied. You can
Okay.
find us in GP practices,
Oh, wow.
in helicopters, in hospitals, everywhere. So we're not just like in the ambulance at the moment, everywhere.
Yeah, even so events. I think events is the one for
events.
me that like loads of people don't realize that. Like, of course, you will see the first aiders, but chances are there is going to be a medical team there with you might potentially see doctors there, but chances are you will have paramedics there.
Yeah.
And you know, even loads of major sporting events, even for the actual people involved in that particular sport, and even the crowd as well, because ultimately you've got 60, 70, sometimes 100,000 people in one place. Of course, you're going to need relevant medical cover.
Yeah,
So you do see a lot of paramedics who will work events or even like things like film sets. We're just in so many different places that a lot of people don't realize. But you know, the main one is obviously us being on
the
ambulances. That's the one that everyone knows.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. And you do pitch I don't know what it's called to say that when you do it for a pitch.
Yes.
That's
Yes. I work outside of working on the ambulances. I work as a pitch medic, and I do that at the London Stadium.
Nice.
So when West Ham are playing, I'm there for the players. We also do it at a couple of other clubs as well, sometimes for their like under 18 games and stuff. But the main part of what I do with them is for the players.
Got you. Okay, and we'll touch a little bit more about that when we go further into the talk. But I just want to know a bit more about both of your backgrounds. Like, how did you even? I know you've explained, and you'll explain again. But how did you even get into becoming a paramedic? By the way, I think paramedics are lit. Like, no, trust me. Like, I think I would want to do that because it's like, oh my gosh, there's something happening. Like, you have to be proper, you know, adrenaline rush and all that stuff. So I think that's lit. But how did you get into it? Tell us your background.
Okay, so I didn't know what I wanted to do. Like, I knew I wanted to be in healthcare, but I didn't know what. So back in 2016, I went to Kenya and I worked in a hospital for a few weeks, and I went around all the wards and stuff like that. But I was attracted to A&E. So I liked the life of like every day. You didn't know what the next patient was going to be. I also did a placement in a pharmacy for a week, and it wasn't for me personally. And so I was like, okay.
Why? What did you like about it?
I think it was just like the same every single day. It felt
quite
like
tedious.
It was the same. Yeah.
Okay.
And I like the excitement of just any. You don't know what you're gonna get as your next job, sort of thing. And then so now I've got like, okay, not pharmacy, but the whole of healthcare sort of thing of what to go into.
Yeah.
And honestly, I was sat on the bus one day and decided paramedic science and applied and
that's really good.
Here.
That's awesome.
So
yes. Do you have any family members that are in healthcare or anything like that?
Yeah,
you do.
We've got a bit.
Oh, really? Who?
Yeah,
who in your family is in healthcare?
We've got radiographers, we've got nurses, we've got doctors, pharmacists.
Okay, so your whole family is in the medical world then?
Yeah, like half Medicare, half business. But yeah, you're surrounded by them. Sort of.
Nice. So do you think they expected you to kind of go down that route as well?
Maybe expected me in healthcare, but not paramedic science. No one's been a paramedic in my family ever. So it's kind of like, why not pharmacy? Why not medicine? And well,
that's what you chose. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Tanoh, what about you? Your background?
So for me, getting into this, like I think coming out of college, or whilst I was in college, I knew I wanted to do something that involved caring for people. So I was thinking like nursing or like working care home, that kind of stuff. But this is gonna sound so weird, but throughout school, and you're there Monday to Friday, you see the same faces over and over again. So I was like, I want to be able to care, but almost selfishly, I don't want to have to care for the same people over and over again. So I want to care, but I want to be able to care for different people. I want to also be able to do a job that's not 9 to 5. Because then again, our schooling is just typical Monday to Friday. You only get two days of rest or 2 days off. Yeah. And then you're back doing the same thing over and over again.
That's really good that you knew though, that you wanted something that's going to constantly change and challenge you. So that's really good that you knew.
But the worry at the time for me is that, so I'm literally listing all these things, but still had no idea about like what I could possibly do. And I suppose nursing at the time was probably the closest thing to that potentially.
Right.
And then I must have went to some careers day in at the Excel Centre. Like this is years ago, and it was only when I was leaving that this guy who works for the fire service, he literally like threw this leaflet in my hand. I was like, yeah, like this might be something
This
you're
is it,
interested
yeah.
interested in. I wasn't, but okay. And as I carried on walking out, there was a couple of paramedics there with the car, and I was like, do you know what? I got no idea
Yeah.
what they actually do.
Yeah.
So let me just go and ask them. And
Yeah,
it just
yeah.
it ticked absolutely everything.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
we do day shifts, we do night shifts. Like
So
we go out
it's
and-
constantly changing.
yeah.
Right,
I just love that. I suppose I love that change. I love the freshness. I love that everything is
never the
different.
same.
Yeah, never ever the same. So yeah, I'm glad I stopped to actually talk to those
Yeah,
two paramedics
yeah.
and go, what is it? What is this job about? And yes, I think it's just since then just been trying to pursue
Yeah,
that.
no, that's great. Okay, cool. So let's go on to how long you've obviously been being a paramedic for. I know you graduated a year ago, you mentioned.
Yeah, so I graduated a year ago, but I chose not to go into practice straight away because I'm doing my master's full time.
Okay.
So there's no space in it to work as a paramedic.
Yeah.
But I am finishing, hopefully, the end of September.
So you wouldn't want to, or I'm not sure if you're allowed, can you study and do that role at the same time?
Yeah, so
Okay.
I would have done a part-time master's then, and I'd done it over 3 years,
Okay.
and then worked alongside it. But
How was that?
Huh?
How was that?
I didn't do.
Oh, you could have done it,
I
did you
could have
say?
done it that
Oh,
way,
okay,
as in,
got
like
you, got
studying
you,
my
got you.
master's like that. But I thought, let me just get it all done in 1 year.
Out of the way, yeah.
And also during the BSc, you're working.
So
basically
what's the BSc?
Oh, so during like your undergrad, like your bachelor's, to get
Okay.
like your paramedic science degree, if you go down that route, you do placement. You're basically working the whole time, and you have assignments, and it's really hard. And that was you as a student. You didn't have that title, your registration to protect, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me finish this 1 year, and then we'll see where we
get it out of
go.
the way, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
yeah.
hopefully by the end of September, we'll see.
You'll be all done.
Yeah, we'll see what
That's good.
happens next. Yeah.
Cool. Lovely. And Tanoh, what about you?
In terms of,
Same question.
I can't remember what the question was. I can't remember that.
How long have you been doing it for? Because you said you're a senior
Yeah,
paramedic.
so I've been a paramedic 4 years now, and
That's not very long, is it, actually, to become a senior? Because I know, like, when you study like different things, you have to study for ages to kind of go up the ranks.
yeah. So
Is that true?
with us, I suppose I'll say, to be honest, that senior is pretty much like titular. It doesn't really like mean much. It probably just means that you're a band 6 paramedic. So now,
So what's the highest band?
like you can end up going way up
Really?
the bands. It just depends on what you do in relation to your role as a paramedic.
Oh, okay.
But when you start off, so once you finish your bachelor's and you register, you come in at band 5. There's now a new process called the NQP consolidation period,
that?
which is 2 years. So it's 2 years of basically consolidating what you've learned in university, and it gives you a chance to reflect on your time as a paramedic on like in the early stages.
Right.
You still got to maintain your CPD. You've still got to do a lot of reflective elements, and you also do your paramedic educator course. So that's you do a course to almost make yourself available to be a mentor to students.
Right.
So that needs to also be done within your 2 years. You create this wonderful, really extensive portfolio, and hopefully if the trust deems it suitable and you pass, then that's when you become a senior paramedic, and that's when you're band 6. So yeah, I've done all of that. My colleague here, I've done a master's as well, but I did it the complete opposite way that she did it,
Right.
in the sense that I did it over 3 years. So I was doing mine whilst working.
Yeah.
Which so I gotta give her props for doing it like all within a year, because that is mad.
Is it?
Absolutely
Yeah,
mad. Just the amount of modules and stuff like that. Like to be able to bang that out in a year, like that's
Is it-
hard.
is it intense?
Part-time, yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, really
okay.
intense. I'd recommend everyone out there to do it part-time, because school is very full on. And like I have all these extra roles at uni, so it's kind of like a lot of work at the same time. But we're coming to the end now.
Yeah. So let's touch on that. How have you actually kind of kept yourself going if it's been that intense? Like, how do you kind of keep yourself motivated?
The support system around me,
Right.
so my friends and family.
Oh, because your family all done that stuff as well. Is that correct?
That stuff, but just like having a good support system around you. Like no one's done like a master's in my family yet, so like. Oh, actually, that's a lie. One of them did, so I'll give him credit for that. But as in like full-time, like full-on MS, like Masters of Science sort of thing.
Yeah, that's what I did, and I done it for a whole year as well. Terrible.
It's painful.
It
It's
was.
painful. It's painful. So I
Never
definitely would
again.
recommend to do it like part-time if you can. But if you're doing it full-time, you definitely need people around who are going to push you to want to do it. Because just being a student, you want to give up half the time anyways.
Yeah.
So you need people to push you in that direction sort of thing.
So do you both have people that you studied with and graduated with that you work with now that are like your good friends and colleagues and stuff like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Like so even when I did my masters, I did it with one of the boys that I trained with. So I think going back to the whole idea of a support network, having him as well there doing pretty much the same modules that I'm doing and stuff, we were able to keep each other motivated,
Right.
and stuff like that. But yeah, a lot of the people that I trained with, just from the paramedic side of it, as in training to be a paramedic, we're all out there working on the road and stuff. Some people have moved on to work in GP surgeries and the primary care network and stuff like that. But at the moment, majority, we're still out there on the ambulances and that.
Got you. Okay, cool. Guys, just a quick reminder, make sure you submit your questions so I can ask them both at the end, and make sure you give us a thumbs up on YouTube as well. So guys, I would like to know a typical day in the life of a paramedic.
Yeah, I do that, no problem. So my shifts are 12-hour shifts, and they usually...
Wait, hold on.
Literally half the day.
Like daily?
Half the day.
Wait,
half the day
Monday to
work.
Friday?
No, so I do 2 days on, so 2-day shifts, 2 night shifts, and then I've got 5 days off. So just depending on how it runs in a month, I could end up working Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but then I'll have the next 5 days off.
Yeah, that's nuts. Sorry. I'm still trying to get my head.
Around the 12 hours.
Yeah. How?
Do you know what? It goes so quickly. And I think depending on, because we're always busy, always busy. Like you will come in, you will sign on at 6:30. You get 15 minutes to check the vehicle, make sure the drugs are there, make sure the equipment is there, make sure mechanically
That sounds
the
like
ambulance
fun.
is all well and good.
Yeah.
And once that 15 minutes hits, you're out on a job straight away. There's no there's hardly any downtime in this, these days. In this
Are you
job.
ever just like, oh my gosh, it's non-stop today?
Yeah,
Do you get
absolutely.
tired? Yeah.
Sometimes on the night shifts as well, it could get to 2, 3 a.m. And that's a normal time, in the normal sense, we're asleep. We know to be asleep at that time.
Yeah.
And then you might have just maybe discharged one at home or just taken one into hospital, and that could end up being, in some cases, potentially the 4th, 5th patient you've seen so far in that shift, and you think, I just want a little bit of downtime.
Yeah, you want a breather.
And sometimes that does happen, but it's rare. It is rare now, because that's just how it is in terms of people wanting to access care and access healthcare. Like when you feel like you haven't got any option, you call 999.
Yeah.
And even if you was to call 111, the system is very sensitive, because they don't want to, they want to make sure that people are safe, and the safest option is to make sure that somebody sees them face to face. So sometimes when people call 111, they get an ambulance. So it's just, at the moment, it is what it is,
Yeah. Sorry, so I interrupted you. So you were telling me a day in the life.
Yeah. So
That's my fault. Sorry.
Yeah. Typically, you'd start off, you sign on, check the vehicle, you contemplate, should I make myself a coffee or not? Should I make myself?
So is this in the morning? Oh, you do morning and night.
So either or. Should I make myself a quick drink?
Yeah.
And it's as if they know. It's as if in dispatch they know you have turned the kettle on, because bang, they're sending you out.
Okay, sorry, I have to interrupt you again because I just thought of another question. You know when you guys get the calls, right? And I'm gonna ask as much as I can because you guys are here. Is it someone from the hospital or a system that are calling a phone in the ambulance saying there's a job, or do you have a work phone? How do the calls actually come in?
So we have a call center, people who actually pick up the phone calls,
and then they divert
triage, so they triage as to what category it would be, what response does it need, how quick do we need to be there, and then they will work to kind of tag us sort of thing, into going, and we have a little. Comes on a screen. We don't actually, and you have a radio.
Okay.
So if they can radio it in, and sometimes, there's a call's coming and it's an emergency and there's no one available, so they'll put it out on a general broadcast like, oh yeah, code 9 or something like that.
Okay, no, that's really cool.
Sort of thing.
Okay, so sorry, another question. So when you finish with a patient, how do you let them know that you're done with that patient so they can then keep sending things through to you?
Yeah, so that's just on the system. We've got a mobile data terminal in the ambulance, and it's all like touchscreen and stuff like that. So as you said, so once we get to a patient, you just click at scene. If you're then taking that patient to hospital, you would click leave scene. It's almost like set up like a little algorithm, and then whatever hospital you're going to, you will select that hospital. That hospital then know that you're coming in because we've got a system set up.
You've alerted them on your
So the hospital then know our dispatch center know that we're going, and then once we've handed over to the nurses, we will press clear and available.
So do you sometimes like take long to press clear and available so you could have like
even that, and you know even that
2 minutes.
Do that anymore.
They'll ring you.
Yeah.
They're like, they'll radio you.
Yeah, in the most ideal situation, you know, you'd arrive at hospital, you would hand over to the nurse within 15 minutes, and then you got another sort of 14 minutes to try and get the ambulance like cleared up, make sure you've got enough stuff ready for the next person. You know, but where hospitals have been so busy recently, even trying to hand over your patient in 15 minutes can be a little bit difficult.
Yeah, that sounds really like a small amount of time.
It is,
really,
and
really does.
depending on the nature of what you've been to, it could potentially take you longer than 15 minutes to clean up the back of the ambulance and stuff like that. But yeah, that's the kind of timings that we do try to work for. And yeah, once we press clear, the dispatchers can see that we're clear. There's another job to send you, click straight up. On to the next one.
It's a lot. Okay, cool. So we were back talking about a day in the life. So we'll go back there. She's talking about you get a coffee and then...
You'll try to.
You try and get a coffee.
Happen. You then get sent out onto the first job with your crewmate. You go, you make your assessments, you provide any necessary care or pharmacological intervention that you need to do. So if you need to give them a drug or you need to give them medication. As I said, so the assessments will be doing things like measuring the oxygen saturations, blood pressures, temperatures.
The measuring the what?
Oxygen saturation,
okay,
so how much oxygen is in their
right,
blood.
With you.
We do ECGs if it's necessary.
That's heart stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. So
See?
looking at their heart racing.
Yeah.
So you just do whatever assessment is relevant to the history of what they've given you, and then
when you say they, is that the patient?
The patient.
Okay.
Yeah. And
what if they're unable to give you history? What do you do then?
Which happens a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does happen a lot where the history can be so sketchy.
So 3 months ago, this happened. Yeah, when they do that, like they start from like months ago and you want to know what happened kind of like today.
Yeah.
Oh, because I would do that. I would tell you stuff from years ago. Okay. Okay.
But
cool.
yeah, no, or use family.
Yeah.
If there's family around, or neighbours if they live alone, sort of thing, which in Norfolk happens a lot. So you use neighbours because they kind of have like a good connection, so they know each other and everything about them. Yeah.
Like okay.
So utilise whoever you can to get the information.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
ultimately, like to probably shorten it, a typical day in the life is you go and see a patient, you decide what to do with them, and then you just constantly do that for 12 hours until your shift ends.
It sounds really fun, guys. It actually sounds fun. It sounds like hard work, but it sounds fun. I love the fact that it's constantly changing. I think I would love that.
That is, for me, that's probably the best aspect of it, that you don't know where you could end up. You can end up at you can end up just going to 5 houses, like for these patients, or you can end up going to a house for the first one, a field for the next one, the forest for the next one, the shopping centre for the next patient.
Forest.
Anywhere.
Wow.
Anywhere and everywhere.
So, do you guys ever like fear for your own safety? Like, if I was called to go to a forest, I'm calling the police to come with me. Have you ever like had like, I don't know, any life or death situations?
Like when you're scared a little bit at times, yeah. Like, because during my second year, my mentor worked on the car rather than like the ambulance. So it was a lot of solo responding, just me and him.
The car is the smaller thing instead of the big ambulance.
Yeah.
Got you.
So like with like rapid responses. It's just me and him, and at times you do kind of get warnings depending on the patient, like okay, that this is a dangerous situation, or if it's like a whole female crew, don't go to this patient because he just wants male sort of thing. So you get a warning, but then there's also sometimes when you go and you just don't really feel the safest sort of thing. And if you don't feel safe, then you don't put yourself in that situation, because
100%.
if you get harmed, I'm no help to anyone else sort of thing. So your safety kind of comes first.
Got you.
So now you wait sometimes for police or more backup, more of you guys, so you're there collectively. Because if you're by yourself, if you get harmed, you're not of any help to anyone, sort of thing.
So is there anything that you guys really don't like? So I don't like loads of blood. Is there anything that you guys don't like, and how do you deal with that stuff?
I'm not a fan of vomit.
Are you not?
Yeah. But I don't mind it. But I'm not like the biggest fan of it, sort of thing. If I can avoid it and have them hold the bowl themselves, then that's great.
Oh, do you usually have to like hold the bowls while they're throwing up?
It depends on like.
It definitely depends.
Yeah,
Definitely.
like if they can do it themselves, you encourage that.
Always.
But if you need to hold it, then yeah.
Okay, so I've got a question here. I think we've semi-answered it, but we'll ask it anyway. What's the craziest thing you've had to do in an ambulance?
Craziest thing.
Inside the ambulance, I'd say the wildest was probably just having to try and restrain
As in hold them down?
Because you know, some certain situations, you know, we end up dealing with so many different things now. You deal with the medical patients, you deal with the trauma patients.
Mental health.
You do get now an increasing amount of mental health patients, and sometimes they will just flip, they'll just switch and start just trying to escape from the stretcher, escape the ambulance. And we're talking, you could be on the motorway traveling at 70 miles an hour, and all of a sudden your patient's now trying to escape. So just trying to keep them safe. That's probably on your own, and that's like the wildest. And whilst trying to shout to your crewmate who's driving at the time, no, we need to stop. I need your help. Like that's probably, I'd say, the craziest thing I was in the back of an ambulance.
I don't know if like it's the craziest, but like having to do CPR en route. So like whilst the ambulance are going around a roundabout on blue lights, and I'm trying to like steady myself and like do CPR at the same time. It's not easiest.
So in terms of feeling pressured, because again, these are people's lives, like lives in your hands. Like how has that affected your mental health, if it has?
I think for me now, like I know we always get that question, what's the craziest thing?
Yeah.
Like for me, the hardest patients are the elderly patients who are by themselves.
Right, because they're probably scared as well.
Yeah, but it's kind of like, I'm very family orientated and we're very close with like our grandparents and stuff like that. But for me, like that's kind of like the hardest is when I have to leave an elderly patient like in A&E by themselves. And like that, because with us, you go into people's houses, so you see how they live, you form a connection with them quite quickly.
Right.
And then you transport them to hospital, and hospital is very busy, they've got a lot of patients. So we're one-on-one, so they have, the nurses and stuff, they have like a lot of patients to deal with. But it's like you deal with that one-on-one, and then you have to leave them by themselves, and you have to say goodbye. And they, for example, if they have no relatives, and they have no one, and like,
that's the England game, guys. Excuse us.
Yeah, that's like the stuff that I struggled with, like more so mentally. It's because.
But how did you deal with it?
Honestly, like cry it out and then speak about it with your friends, and then that's it, sort of thing. Like, and then it's kind of like making sure that you do your best for every patient that you go to, so you don't have any regrets. Sort of thing.
No, I love that.
That's what I would say.
Nice.
Yeah, for me, like the pressure was definitely there. Like initially when I first started out, like I trained with the trust, so I wasn't one who's gone to university and then came out to work for the ambulance service. I started with the ambulance service. They trained me initially, and then it just kind of
okay. So you don't actually have to study to become a paramedic?
Yeah, so not necessarily. So some ambulance trusts might do some sort of internal course. So they'll teach you sort of the elements to work on an ambulance. Right. You spend a year maybe working on the ambulance, and you become an emergency medical technician, and you have that qualification. And then after that, if the trust has like a setup or an agreement with a university, then they can look to release you in blocks to do your like university bits, and that's how I did mine.
Okay.
But when I first started with the ambulance trust, yeah, like the pressure was there even just before I even got to the ambulance station. Like, I'd be driving my car to the ambulance because I'd be so worried about what I'm gonna encounter and whether or not I'm gonna be able to do the best that I can for that person. Like, you want to like show up for the profession, you want to show up for yourself, you want to show up for the patient. Like, you want to be able to do the best you can, even though the majority of the time in the early days you're going to be with somebody who is more experienced than you. You're going to be with a paramedic, or you're going to be with an experienced other member of staff. But still, you know, you want to be able to feel like you can do the best that you can. So yeah, initially, yeah, I would get, like, my heart would just start racing just even before I've gotten to the ambulance station. Once the radio goes for that first job, my heart will just start beating. Like, once you get to the door, just about to get into the house, my heart will be beating.
Yeah.
But I think experience counts for a lot, and once you've been in that position enough times, and it's more likely gonna go well than not go well.
Right.
Because if you've got that mentality of, okay, well, I want to do the best for this patient, chances are you probably are going to.
So can I just cut you off and just ask, so have there been situations where you've done your absolute best for the patient and unfortunately it hasn't helped? And how have you dealt with that?
Yeah, so there's unfortunately our scope is always going to be limited. So we're not going to be able to deal with absolutely everything. And that's the whole point of being able to then recognize that and get them to the definitive place of care. I think the best way to kind of deal with that is to acknowledge that what you did was, like, you did the best that you possibly could. Reflect on what may have been missed, which may or may not have been the fault of you as a paramedic, and then you just kind of reflect and then move forward from there.
Okay. So have you guys had any times where maybe you've had to deal with guilt as well? And I'm asking these questions because there might be some students who might want to actually go into this field as well. So we just want to kind of give them as much as we can. Have you ever felt guilty, and how have you dealt with that?
And how you've dealt with something before? I can't think of many situations, but one is pertinent to my mind. When I was in, I think it was my first year, I can't really remember, but there was a patient who reminded me of a situation, and it's kind of like, we can't judge, and we have to treat everyone and anyone sort of thing. It's not our point of view, it's not our right to choose who you can and can't treat.
Right. Yep.
But in that moment, like, especially if it hits home and it's like the first time, it's like, I found it hard to talk to the patient because it was a situation really close to home. But this was really random. The following year, I went to him again, and this time I was in my second year. And at this point, I had mentors that like made me do everything from my second year, so, which was really good for me by the time I got into my third year. But so I recognized him from the get-go. And I was like, oh, so last time, the way I dealt with it, I really wasn't happy with it. Like, I sat down and spoke about it with my mentor, I spoke about it with the lecturers at uni.
Right.
Because, like, I never thought I would be that, like, I never thought that I would ever feel a type of way about patients or thing, or it would hit home. I never made that connection. But the second time that I had to treat the patient, it went really well. And obviously this time I was in full lead, so I did everything that I needed to do. And then I guess that kind of gave me peace, because like the second time I got to redeem myself with that, which I guess doesn't happen all the time. But I think if you do something, or, you know, go to a situation and you feel guilty about it, you may not get the chance to see them again. But if you recognize where you went wrong and then you work from that, that's it. Like, because building on what you said about there's a limit to what we can do and how much we can do. I think knowing how as far as we can go, and then calling on someone who has more knowledge or more skill, greater skill set. I think that in itself is like realizing that, oh, you're not alone. Like, I think that comes with the pressure. You think, oh my God, I have to deal with this situation all on my own. It's my registration on the line with me, but you're in a team. And you can call on someone else. Like, even if it's not just your crewmate, you can call critical care, you can call
others to actually support.
There's like an advice line for clinical advice. You can call them and get advice on the situation. It's not, the onus isn't all on you. Which it takes time, I think, to realise that.
Okay, lovely. And the next question, let me just go through, don't want to miss anything out. What would you say are the pros and cons of being a paramedic?
I say pros, you have the opportunity to make a significant difference to like the people that you attend, and then that extends out further. Like you are making a difference to people's families, to people's friends, especially if you're able to provide the best care, you know, stabilize and keep them alive, you know, or, you know.
And that's a big deal. Like literally, it's actually people's lives. So
Sometimes I think because we are so busy and the nature of our job is so varied, and you don't really have time to deep it as much. But yeah, sometimes you think, well, actually, you know, I actually saved someone's life. Like that person was not breathing.
How does that make you feel when you just clock? Oh, I actually saved someone's life.
Does. I suppose it does. It does have this nice feeling to it. But then I think also we probably don't deep it enough because we think, well, that's our job. That's what we choose. That's what we chose to do. That's what we trained to do. So it just shows that we're just doing our job, really. So that's definitely a huge pro. I think you also learn how to sort of talk to a varied, like you just learn how to talk to society, like because you have to, like you need to be able to connect with everybody
and kind of be compassionate as well. Understanding of their situation.
Like because
if you can't talk, it won't work.
No way.
What do you mean though? Like, can you give me an example?
Is it just like holding it? Because a lot of it is communication.
Oh, and it's because you have to distract them from the actual...
Even that
as
well.
And then sometimes you have a long transfer from your location to a hospital. Say, for example, like maybe an hour. You're in the back with the patient. You have to... Can't just be sat there in silence. It's a little bit awkward sort of thing. And if someone's worried, you have to come... So many situations, you just need to be able to talk.
Right.
I think that's the most important skill a paramedic can have.
100%.
Because like to learn how to do... The stuff, it's all manual, it's like muscle memory. You learn how to do it, you can do it forever. But that talking part where you get the history from people, like a history can lead like into everything. It's like your solution to everything. It helps you diagnose an issue and stuff like that. And if you can't talk to someone, you can't really get a history from them. It's not going to go the best sort of thing.
Okay.
I'd say another pro is that these days the role is expanding and developing so quickly. And we are integrating into so many other different parts of healthcare, which means that the opportunities to do lots of different things are there, as opposed to just working on an ambulance. There's this whole thing about not all paramedics wear green, and that is correct, because then there are so many different things that we can do now, different types of roles that we can have. So that's
you guys wear green?
Huge.
Do you guys wear green?
I do,
Not me at the moment.
Exactly.
Okay.
But I say a massive con is the fact that a lot of, most of what we do, if you work in an ambulance, you're working shifts. If your friends don't work shifts, then boy, trying to organize like socials with your friends is the hardest thing in the world, because they'll be like, okay, what about this weekend? Nah, sorry, I'm on nights, or I'm just coming off nights, or I'm on days. Like that's for me, that's the biggest con, the shift element. But then going back to all the different opportunities that are coming out now, like there are opportunities for Monday to Friday type work. Like there are opportunities for it to fit around your lifestyle or your family situation and that. So as much as it's a con to me, but it's not I would say it's not a set in stone con.
Yeah, I've heard that in so many of the panels that we've done. A lot of people have said their social life isn't as active as they want it to be because of work. So you're not alone. So any pros and cons for you?
Pros, I think, is just what you do. Like, for me, again, old people. But like when they put the smile on you, like the smile that you can put on their face, like someone who's lonely and doesn't see people often, and you go in and you have a chat with them and stuff like that. Like it just makes it big. I don't know. You feel like you've done something for them. Like I think that's the biggest thing, is that in that time, like then people call you, they're relying on us. And like actually pulling through for them, I think, is like the biggest, because we can pull through for them in so many ways. Like we don't just take every single patient to hospital. Like you can arrange extra care, or like, for example, if they need an assessment at home to help them cope better, like you can arrange that stuff for them. So you've started something to better their life, sort of thing.
Well, that's pretty cool, actually.
So I think that's the biggest pro, just doing what you like, the caring aspect for me. And then to follow on with the con about the shift work, I think it's like what it does to your body physically. It messes up your body in all aspects, like your stomach, your back.
Your stomach?
Because imagine
you're eating at random times.
You might get a break at like 2-3 in the morning. But
That's your whole meal
yeah,
at that time.
you'll be eating like a meal at 3 o'clock in the morning.
And
Again, it's like,
how
who
long
does
is
that?
the break?
So it's meant to be, so it's 45 minutes.
I don't know if you're allowed to say this.
So in the trust that I work at, you get half an hour where it's undisturbed, and then there's 15 minutes where you can be disturbed to go out on a
No,
on a
sorry,
pool.
no.
And then that depends on pressure. But yeah, when
12 hours.
12 hours, 45-minute break.
But remember that 30-minute goes, you just hear the radio goes up and you get
31 minutes
straight
back, straight out.
straight out again. Very rare you get your full 45 minutes.
Yeah.
No, that's nuts. That's so nuts. Okay, cool. Let's go on to some of the questions. One question says, as paramedics, how do you always stay prepared for unexpected situations?
Do you know, that I kind of had anxiety about that as a student. Because you know when you're in uni and you're learning, you're going to go through the A, B, C, D, E, and you flow and everything is easy. But that's not real life. Like you start off with something and you can never completely go to the
Your
end.
friend just said, come on, Hafsah. Hi, Fatima.
Yeah, so I kind of used to think, I need to know what I'm going to do next. But what I've realized is that you just stick to the basics. Know your basics of like, if you go to a situation and you actually don't know what to do, you stick to your basics and you
have a colleague there that would help you
you're not
as well,
always
isn't it?
alone. You can always call someone up sort of thing and arrange. Like if you're going to something, it sounds like, actually we may need backup for this. You're gonna, as soon as you step in a situation, you kind of know if you need to call someone or not, and then one of you can get on the radio and get someone going sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's the myth. You don't need to be prepared fully. Like you're not gonna know completely what to do because you can ask a question and they bring something up and it's like, oh my days, like I've never dealt with this before. Like, what do I do?
Yeah.
And that happens a lot, and it's kind of like, okay, right, just need to get on with it sort of thing.
Yeah, you need to, like, there is always the whole, when you're on the way to a job, you can try and picture potential scenarios and that, and then, well, you can end up walking through the door and none of them scenarios, it could be something completely different. But I would say one thing is something could be going in a certain direction, but I think as long as in your mind you're thinking, okay, but this might potentially happen or this might potentially happen. Although we're currently going in this direction in terms of what they're saying or what I need to do, I need to prepare just in case this happens or just in case this happens. So that way you don't really get caught out when it does happen, because then you're on the back foot, and then trying to mentally get your head back into the right space to be able to deal with what has just happened is a bit more difficult. But if you're thinking, okay, this is now what's going on, but X or Y might happen, so I'm just going to prepare just in case I could consider doing this or needing that. So that's probably a way to do it.
Okay, we've got a couple more questions, which I'll definitely ask, but I've got another question as well. When you guys actually get home, right, and you're trying to sleep, do you ever like flinch, like is your brain like constantly active?
Please tell me that you hear that radio sound.
Yeah.
But it just sticks in your mind, especially
even when you're trying to sleep.
In the early days, you just hear this. What? Did I bring the radio home?
Yeah,
I need to bring that back.
I've done that before.
Yeah,
got one home before?
Accidentally take the
And I
radio
look
home.
down and it's like, oh my days.
Did you have to go back? And
No, they came to get it from me.
oh, okay.
They weren't that nice to you. You better bring that radio back.
They have to take it back. I think like for me, I just want to jump in the shower as soon as I step home.
So you're able to kind of switch off as soon as you.
Yeah, I think it depends on what you've seen.
Yeah.
It really depends on what you've seen. If it's like you're okay with everything, then it's fine. It's just been like a normal, to you. But I've had it where like I've had I think nightmares once when I went to the morgue. But that's because I was in the morgue. I've never been to it.
Wait,
I've seen it.
Why did you go to the morgue?
Because a patient had a cardiac arrest outside in a public space, and if
Right.
someone dies in a public space, you have to convey them. You can't just leave them laying outside. There's like different situations sort of thing. So you had like, traveling one with the body in the back for however long till you get there, and then going to the morgue, and then it's kind of like the fridge is open and there's all these trays.
Oh,
and
my
like I only
Wow,
see it.
You never think, you, as I said, you only see these things in movies, and I don't remember being told that if you have a situation like that, you'd have to convey them to them. First time going to them, I was like, this is actually wild.
I can't even imagine that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We're gonna go to the last two questions. This one here says, have you delivered any babies in an ambulance before?
So
or outside? Because I know you've done some outside as well.
So I was very fortunate to help support a mother in delivering one inside her house, which was amazing. But I've been assigned to loads of, we call it birth imminent. And there's been a couple of cases where the baby's already been born before we've got there. Or on the flip side, they're not, mum's not actually as ready as she thinks to deliver. But yeah, I managed to do one so far, which was really nice. It's always nice to hear the scream and, see the colour change, watch them go nice and pink and start moving and that. And, be able to, let the other parent cut the umbilical cord if they want to.
Okay.
A lot of the time, the parent go, no, I don't want to do that. Don't want to do that. But yeah, nice. I've done one so far. But I've got colleagues who've done
loads.
10, 15.
Okay. Okay. Let's go on to the next question. So it says, would you say it's important to keep fit or exercise to keep up with the lifestyle of a paramedic? And how do you guys even do that when you do 12-hour days?
That's it. So it definitely is so important, because I think one of the main reasons is that if we're out here giving out health promotion and advising people on how to sort of live a healthy lifestyle, I suppose physically and mentally we need to be in that position to be able to give that advice. But there is a lot of physicality to the job, carrying the bags up, running up stairs if need be. The chest compressions, the lifting people out of their houses, coming down, lifting them downstairs. So you need to have a good solid foundation of strength and fitness to be able to do the job. So it is so important to be able to maintain that strength, build that strength.
Yeah, it's a big part of your role, isn't it? Yeah.
I love going into patients' houses and they might comment on how big I am and stuff. And I'm like, it's just to be able to lift people out of their houses.
Yeah, I don't it's for your sake.
I don't do it for any other reason.
Yeah.
And they'll go, oh yeah, I'm really, really heavy. And we still manage to get them down. I'll tell them, you're welcome. But
I love it when you're walking them downstairs and or they can walk out. That's amazing. When they can walk into the ambulance themselves, amazing.
Makes your job a bit easier. Someone's asked, what support network do you have from work to prevent you being affected from trauma? You did already say that you had a hotline and you have colleagues as well. So do you guys have anything else to add to
we've got,
that question?
A lot of trusts will have occupational health teams, and if you've been involved in some sort of traumatic job or you're going through a bit of a rough patch, you can be referred to counselling, so you've got that support there.
So someone refers you, or can you kind of refer yourself?
I think so one of your sort of operations manager will probably refer you to occupational health, and then they can hopefully get some sessions started. We've got something called TRIM, which is traumatic risk intervention management. So if you've been to something which was very emotive or very traumatic, something that doesn't normally get seen on a day-to-day, a TRIM practitioner will contact you within 24 hours initially.
Right. So they go out of their way to make sure that you're okay.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Absolutely. So there are a couple of elements there.
That's awesome. Sure. Guys, it's been a great panel. I've learned a lot. No, honestly, it's been really, really cool. So we're just going to wrap up. So let me give you guys the House of Medics socials quickly, and then at the end I'll give you guys an opportunity to give yours as well. I'm not sure if you guys are open to mentorship or speaking to any people that might be interested in studying as well.
Absolutely.
So awesome. So you guys actually, just if you say your socials now, and guys, if you do want to speak to any of them online, you can just hit them up. So whenever you guys are ready.
So I'm just literally active on Instagram, but my @ is at Hafsah Mahmood, just my full name. Happy to help anyone, have any conversations. Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool. I'm mainly active on Instagram as well, at Lego Danso, Lego as in the Lego bricks. You can find me on Twitter as well, same handle. And I'm always open to having discussions, always open to helping people out, even if it's with applications, little bits like that. Yeah, come at me.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. So House of Medics, on our website is houseofmedics.org. On TikTok and Instagram, we are House of Medics. Our Twitter, LinkedIn and Facebook is House of Medics. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I am going to quickly mention the giveaway. I know you guys think I forgot, but I didn't. So if you haven't already entered our giveaway, go on our page because there's quite a few instructions on how to enter, but I'll read them out now anyway. And what you get in the giveaway hamper as well. You get face steamer with a fluffy headband and blemish removers, really cool creams, LV shampoo and conditioner, a beauty blender. There's loads of cool things. If you guys can help me scroll up so I can read the rules. So you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Actually, let me just read it from my phone. So you subscribe to the YouTube channel and leave a comment on a video of your own choice. So that can be any video. You can follow us on Instagram or our Twitter account. Tag 3 of your friends, repost on your Instagram story or retweet with the hashtag HOM giveaway. But again, all of that information is going to be on our social media as well. So thank you guys so much. You guys are amazing. Paramedics of the year. You're lit. Guys, enjoy the game. It's coming home and we'll see you in 2 weeks.